Riley sat alone in the kitchen, her fifth cup of coffee already cold. It was 3 in the morning, and Nathan still hadn't come home. It wasn't the first night he disappeared for a drunken binge. Lately, it had become a constant cycle. Women, Riley thought, always worry about their husbands coming home late, suspecting infidelity, but not her. Their different professions had never been a problem until the children left to study, changing the dynamics of their relationship. Riley begged Nathan to stop drinking, discussing her work, often ending in tears, but he seemed unable to control himself. Riley's husband, once a successful lawyer, had fallen into alcoholism. He used to drink at home or at the local bar, but now he could drink anytime and anywhere. Riley noticed that the situation was getting worse. Her husband had lost faith in himself, and nothing could bring him out of this state. He got drunk and turned into a raging storm, trying to assert dominance over Riley. His attempts failed because of her professional skills in self-defense. It pained Riley deeply to see the man she loved trying to harm her. It felt wrong, and she knew if it continued, she might have to leave. Despite their many years together, enduring such treatment was no longer worth it to her. She quietly hoped Nathan would just rest on the sofa tonight. The sound of the key turning in the lock signaled Nathan's arrival. Riley wished silently that he would go straight to the living room and fall asleep. Her wish went unanswered. Nathan walked into the kitchen, flicked on the light, and wore a drunken grin. "Well, well, well. Look who's back," he slurred. "Our esteemed boss," Nathan continued slurring. Riley asked tiredly, "Are you not tired of this, Nathan?" He replied, "Tired? How could I be? I'm just having a blast. But you, my dear, you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders with that serious job of yours. You're the boss, and I'm just a simple man," he retorted. Riley frowned. She had never boasted about her job and always tried to support Nathan. She was surprised why he suddenly started to consider her superior and smarter. This new attitude was confusing because Nathan had never shown jealousy or insecurity, even despite Riley's career successes. Riley couldn't help but wonder what caused such a change. She decided to solve the mystery and help Nathan understand that they are equals despite their differences. She was increasingly convinced that someone or something had influenced Nathan's new way of thinking. He had never compared himself to others negatively before. "Nathan, enough. This is too much already. You can't do this every day. Aren't you tired of it yourself?" Riley asked, trying to understand his state. Nathan stammered, awkwardly fiddling with the faucet, spilling water everywhere. Then he dropped the glass and almost stumbled while trying to calm down. "Quiet! The boss is home," he said, pounding his fist on the table, then collapsed unconscious on the floor. Riley held back tears, leaning over her husband. "Listen carefully. If you don't do it right, we'll do it differently," she said firmly. She dialed the phone number. "Vincent, send the car and a few assistants to me, quickly and quietly," Mrs. Brooks ordered Riley. Vincent chuckled quietly. "Got a body there, needing disposal." Almost immediately, Vincent, almost Riley, replied. Nathan was out cold when he was put in the car. Upon waking, Nathan found himself in a hallway facing Riley. "What's happening?" he asked. She replied nonchalantly, "Nothing much." Riley then told him she had arranged for him to spend the night in a cell with women serving long-term sentences. She added casually, "By the way, 3 of them murdered their husbands because of their alcohol addiction." Nathan asked, "Riley, are you insane?" She said, "Too late, dear. You never listened." Turning away, exhausted, the door closed with a clang. Gasps came from inside the cell. Riley thought she didn't care anymore, or at least she tried not to. For 5 years, Riley had led the women's correctional facility with an iron hand wrapped in a velvet glove. Her leadership skills and resolute nature were renowned. Though she seemed gentle, she possessed an unyielding character with clear vision and high standards. She set the bar not just for herself, but for her team as well. Riley's dedication and readiness to make tough calls made her an effective head of the facility. She was known as a leader who tolerated no nonsense, always prioritizing the safety and welfare of those under her care above all else. Her unwavering determination had earned respect from both her staff and the inmates, making her a revered and accomplished figure in her field. Meanwhile, Nathan sobered up a little, and only one thought ran through his mind. His wife's patience was not unlimited. "Oh, what a good-looking man they've thrown in here with us," a woman said, noticing Nathan's arrival with curiosity. They approached Nathan, all serving different sentences, and asked, "Who the heck are you? What did you do to annoy our princess so much?" Nathan realized they wouldn't attack him immediately, so he smiled slightly and said, "I'm the husband of your princess." The women looked at him in disbelief, saying, "Nah, that can't be true." Nathan reached into his pocket and showed them his driver's license. They shook their heads, then returned the license to him, asking, "What the heck are you doing here then?" Nathan smiled and replied, "Guess my wife is attempting to fix me. She does everything her own way," said one of the inmates, looking at him thoughtfully. "My husband also wanted me to keep quiet about his problem with alcohol." "And where is he now?" she added, shrugging and sitting down at the table. Nathan looked at her in confusion, expecting a completely different conversation. He thought that since no one attacked him, everyone would sit down and talk about how Riley was a bad wife. But the conversation took an unexpected turn. Another woman tugged his sleeve and said, "Let me pour you some coffee. You look like you've had a rough night. Looks like we won't be disturbed until morning, so you can relax. I'm Phoenix, and this is Lauren," she introduced herself, pointing to the woman at the table. "And this is Kendall and Tanya," she added, pointing to 2 other women sitting at the table. Nathan smiled and said, "I'm Nathan. Nice to meet you." He was given a cup of coffee that seemed freshly brewed, but had the taste of being re-steeped. He took a sip and asked Lauren, "Where is your husband?" Lauren looked at him sadly. "Sorry, you didn't hear my story. He left and she began, not finishing her thought. "My children are in an orphanage." Nathan asked, "What does alcohol have to do with this?" She replied, "If you want, I'll tell you." He hesitated, then shrugged. "My husband started drinking and couldn't stop, even though we were about to celebrate our 10th anniversary. At first, I didn't understand the reason. Then I found out that his coworker took him to the casino after work. There were slot machines and free drinks." Her voice was trembling. I begged him to stop, saying it would end badly. He just shouted drunk for me to be quiet. He said, "I'm a man. I know what I'm doing." Then he lost a lot of money. People came to us and threatened us. He didn't tell me anything, just drank more to forget. In the end, he died from what too much alcohol does to you. Then they came for me and the children. They said we owed them the apartment besides money. I told them to leave. One of them grabbed my son and said that if I didn't agree, it would be the end for all of us. Something snapped inside me when I saw the fear in my son's eyes. I grabbed a kitchen knife and went into... I don't even know what to call it. One of them fell to the floor before they even realized what had happened. I also knocked down another one in the hallway. It was self-defense. Her voice quieted. She said it wouldn't bring her children back. Nathan sat stunned. He had read such stories, but never thought he'd be close to someone who survived it. The silence hung heavily in the cell. Another woman, Annie, broke it with her story of hardships. He wanted to say something comforting, but every word felt like a cliché. His desire to drink vanished, replaced by the echo of a young woman sobbing. She began to tell that it wasn't her fault about her mother's death, her father's new woman, and debts. People said she was given away to pay off all debts, and in despair Nathan couldn't just sit still. "It sounds like self-defense," he suddenly exclaimed. Phoenix looked at him almost with a smile. "You sound like a lawyer." The thing is, a girl like Kendall couldn't afford a lawyer. The man she attacked had powerful connections. Frustration gnawed at him. A thought was forming, but he couldn't fully grasp it yet. Nathan asked for every single detail about what happened, including names of anyone who might know something. He promised to try his best to help. Kendall looked at Nathan, startled, then glanced at Phoenix, the older woman who seemed to be in charge of the situation. Phoenix gave Nathan a stern look. "Are you going to keep your word? No false hope for this girl. She's suffered enough already." "I promise I'll do what I can," Nathan insisted firmly, determined to help despite the odds. Meanwhile, Riley felt overwhelmed. She knew she had made a big mistake and that Nathan would be furious. She froze. The cell was quiet. Nathan sat at the table, surrounded by inmates who were talking and even smiling a little. Nathan turned to her. "Oh, hi, Riley." His voice sounded calm, without anger. Riley was silent. Everything seemed wrong. "What's going on?" she managed to ask. Nathan stood up and left the cell, waving to the women who wished him luck. Even the guards looked puzzled, as this cell was usually the worst. "Nathan, are you okay?" Riley asked as they hurried down the corridor. "Yes, everything's fine. We need to go home. I have to get myself together. I have to find someone," he added. Riley felt lost. Her husband had struggled with alcoholism for a long time, and now he was weak, sober, and almost a stranger. It was a good change, but too sudden, leaving her confused. Hope and doubt mixed inside her. Maybe they had a chance now. Now she needed to understand what had happened in that cell. "Nathan, you keep leaving? Is there something you're not telling me?" He turned to her. "That young woman in your cell is Kendall. I believe she doesn't belong there. Her life is ruined. The evil stepmother and the man who hurt her and should be in prison are to blame. Sorry I didn't say earlier, but I have been deeply involved in her case, trying to find a way to help Riley." Riley just looked at him. Then a smile slowly spread across her face. "Wow, my Nathan really came back," she said, hugging him tightly. "Sorry, dear, I was such a fool," he said. Thank you for helping me find my way again." For 6 long months, Nathan worked tirelessly, obsessed with the idea of achieving justice. When the new trial finally came, it was all thanks to him. He found witnesses who could tell the true story. He even tracked down the fraudulent doctor who lied at the first trial. It was hard. There were setbacks. But Nathan did not give up. This trial was different, and he was determined to succeed. The verdict echoed throughout the courtroom. Not guilty. Kendall swayed, tears streaming down her face, too weak to stand. She sat down on the chair, the weight of recent years pressing down on her. Nathan was nearby, supporting her in that moment. An older woman rushed into the chaos, her sobs echoing Kendall's own. She was Kendall's grandmother, drawn by news she feared was too terrible to be true. The reunion was filled with grief and hope, reflecting years lost and the uncertain promise of a future together. Outside, Nathan and Riley stood silently watching. "I've never been more proud of you," Riley said, her voice thick with emotion. Nathan smiled, though his exhaustion was clear to see. Suddenly a boy appeared, breathless, shoving an envelope at Nathan. "Delivery!" he shouted, then disappeared into the crowd as quickly as he came. The car was quiet, each lost in their own thoughts. He glanced at Riley and noticed the anxiety on her face. But in her fatigue, he saw determination, not joy. Inside the envelope was a single, neatly written note. The fireplace table for 2 reserved in the prison. They respect those who keep their word. Nathan laughed, a sound both weary and genuine. "Well, Riley, looks like your girls are buying us dinner," he said, hiding the darker truth behind his words. He did not mention the deeper meaning. Phoenix and the others knew his fight for Kendall was far from over. Dark forces behind her suffering were still free. It was not joy, but stern determination. He fought his demons and found a way back from the edge of the abyss. Now, a new battle lay ahead. He began this journey seeking redemption for Kendall and for himself. But looking at the noisy city street, he realized this was bigger than both of them. The women in that prison, countless others unnoticed by all, they would no longer be victims. He would not allow it to happen. Perhaps these very women hold the key to overthrowing the true villains. It was a new hope and a new fight.